he had a woolen mill, and he had windows and window and sash. Here I go again. Sash and window building or whatever. Anyway, he had all this information that that people called upon him, and he was just a very important person in town. And so they decided they needed to have a place to have entertainment and stuff. Although now they did have a little house out here on the grounds for a long time, but that was gone not too long ago. But anyway, Mr. and Mrs. Moyer built this house, and now this room used to be the dining room, and there's a door that goes into the kitchen. So the dining room here was all where they did most of their entertaining, and then they had the room over here as where their business and stuff would happen. Now you notice that the ceilings, all the ceilings in the house are beautiful places. They were beautiful until Mr. Thompson, who bought the house later on, covered up all the ceilings with some kind of paint, you know, and so they had to covered it all up. And but to get back to Mr. Moyer, he had it all. He had a man who came and did stenciling in each of the rooms, and they had the pretty decoration with the lamp there. Now you notice in here there's 3 places for pictures, and the 3 rooms have 3 sets of pictures, each set different. Now the wallpaper and things was well. Let me not start into that right yet. But this room here now was all Mr. Moyer had it. It's hard to try and tell you the story because Mr. Moyer in his life went up to 1910, and his wife lived 20 years more, and then Mr. Thompson bought the house, and he fiddled around and messed around with the house and made it really a mess of it. Not a mess of it. Yeah, yeah. But this room was made into a music room now when Mr. Thompson came in, and he wanted to have this for the music room, and he would make another room in the back, the dining room. So and then we have things in here. Now, when the house was sold to Mr. Thompson, and then later on the county bought the house to make it into a museum. Well, the Moyers didn't have anything left in the house. There's 5 items, which I'll tell you what they are, but there are 5 items, and that was all they had. So they had to put out the word that if anybody in Lynn County had any items of furnishings that would fit in this house in the era, to fit the era. So everything here you see was donated. You know, it's really too bad, but that's the way it is. And you know, we have lovely things here. Sure. This piano from New York, and the company back there built all these beautiful pianos, and then they wouldn't hold a tune. So they put them on board a ship, and took them around the point, around the Horn, right, yeah, up to San Francisco, and you know, all the money and 49ers were all walking around pockets full of money, so they all had to buy a piano. Wow. And so we ended up with a piano from somebody donated to.
Well, that's a big donation there.
It is, yeah. Except you know, you can't play it.
But it's, you know.
Yeah, it's so different. Yeah.
Now, I like this here stereo.
Yeah, well, that worked for a while, but then I guess just too many different people were, you know, yeah, because it
crank
really,
it up and it just goes in, you know.
Yeah, that was really interesting. I think that Edison's 18-something, 18. This house was built in 1881. Yeah. So, let's see. Got everything to, okay, now when the county, the wallpaper was pretty bad, and so they ripped off, took all the wallpaper off and sent a piece of it back east to a computer place that would, I don't know what, they would look at it and find other pieces of wallpaper that might fit. So that's how you got this wallpaper, which is really, really very nice. But most of the wallpaper back then was dark, and I'll show you a piece of its darkness. But anyway, as you see up here on the window, on the door, that's what all the windows, how they had the windows fixed. See in the transom up here, this was like that. But whenever the county came in to fix up the house, they cleaned them all off and then just put a border around. But they did leave this one and another one in the kitchen to show you how they had done it back in 1881. You know, it was very different. Now this here was given to us by somebody in Albany, I think. He found it in an attic.
Just a few years ago.
Yes, not very long. And here's the Moyer's little house, and then here's the big house here. So, and then the road goes down to across the river. So we come in here, and this is the sitting room. I guess where Mr. Moyer would have guests and things. They would come in here. And there's the three little pictures up there. And now this picture here is Mr. Moyer's brother and his wife. And here's Mr. and Mrs. Moyer here. This is a charcoal painting, a charcoal drawing of the two. Now this is what Moyer's clock, and it worked. We had a gentleman that took care of it, and then finally he died. And so rather than too many of it messing with it, we don't turn it on anymore. But it does work, which is interesting. Yeah. So. We have a beautiful. Oh yeah, and the you see all the rooms in the house have wainscoting, which it seems to me like a lot of waste in a way. And yet here you had the wood, this sash and the window. What do you call it? Oh, I left my notes over there. Anyway. They put the wainscoting on, and we have lots of the ceilings are all messed up up in there. Now, all right, we're going to go. Oh well, here's the wallpaper. Now this is the wallpaper that was in here when the county came in. It was dark brown.
Was it darkened with age, or was that the way they think it started?
Yeah, that it's dark.
Yeah.
Back then they would put dark stuff, and there's the border right there. And now here is another room, and it looks like it almost looks like silk, but we don't know. So anyway, there's more pieces of wallpaper in there. Now this here is the ladies' room, the women's room. This is the men weren't allowed to come. Couldn't be allowed to be in here.
Yeah, I believe you.
Now this is where the women came, and they had their tea, and they would bring their knitting or their sewing and things and visit. So they would come in here and
so it really was. It was a parlor where the women finally decided. Men
right.
were going to be wearing their grubby boots.
Yep.
So they had some power.
Oh yes.
Something.
Yeah.
They couldn't vote, but they could keep the men out of one room.
Yeah. Now this piece here, I think, is probably one of the. You can come in. I'm just teasing. This is a piece of furniture that was built, and isn't it pretty?
Yeah.
It's just. See this. Absolutely, it's not really strong, but anyway, that was donated for us. And now you see the wallpaper is different in there, and I don't think that this really is the kind of wallpaper they had back then. But somebody chose the wallpaper, and over here is some more of the wallpaper story video right here. And this here was painted by one of Mr. Moyer's relatives, the old cow, and then the trees there. So, and see here we have a different kind of ceiling.
I wondered, were those chairs really very comfortable to sit in?
Oh no! Oh, sit on.
I always wondered that too.
Oh, they're awful. They're hard and they're down, 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 down.
I'm looking at born in the day of lazy boy recliner.
Yeah. You just sitting in it for just 5 minutes, you know, it really makes you anxious to get up.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll notice, look at all the pianos and the record players and things. The people that volunteered all this stuff. Everybody had a record player or something, you know. So, anyway, I think that's. And then we had the crown molding. I've never seen this crown molding before, but it's only in this room. But that was kind of interesting. Yeah. All right, now here is another thing that was at Mr. Moyer's. This is a hat rack, and he had his hat rack and Mrs. Moyer's umbrella.
This is it, huh?
Yeah, and this has her name engraved on it, so that's true. But now this here, isn't this interesting? Mm-hmm.
I bet it's from that.
Lady, the girl made that.
Yeah. I'm just probably kidding, but it's so funny.
Probably part of the tree though.
Yeah, it might be, you know, it might be. All right, now, this room here is the dining room. This is the dining room that Mr. Thompson built. It used to be, this much here was a storage room where they put the canned goods and stuff and put out the great big tub so they could bathe and stuff. But when Mr. Moyer and Mr. Thompson took the wall that was here, took it out and extended the room. So about 6 feet more, so that they could have a bigger room. And this, and you see here where, I don't know where this came from, but isn't that interesting how they, because this here was a wall right here, here. So they put all this wood here with all of this junky paper on it, and I can't figure out why it's there. You thought they would put some, anyway, so that's, now out here in the back we have the carriage, what you call it? Carriage house? Yes, it used to be the carriage house when Mr. Moyer was here, and then over the years it got old, and when the county came in, they tore down the old one and put another one up, which they used to store stuff in. So, now let's see. Okay, now you notice how nice the floors are. These are the original ones, and it's been not sanded, but it's been all smoothed out and sealed and everything, and they've done a beautiful job on it. And of course we have this set, this dining room set. Even these chairs are hard to sit in. It's really crazy.
Did they actually have comfortable chairs to sit in?
Yeah, I don't know. Because we didn't have anything back from then. You know, any furniture, any of the show, so I don't know. Now this here, now this also was extended. There was a wall here, and they extended it out, so it has 6 more feet out here. And this little sink right here, this was 1910, I think, or 1920, and it was it's original. And in this stove here this is a late stove, 1930, 1940 something. It's gas and wood. Yeah. So
That's much newer.
yeah, probably even newer than that, but I wasn't sure. Now, you notice this beautiful stove. This was donated by a family in Lebanon. And the reservoir is across the top of the stove. And that's where they heat their water. This here is, okay, this here is where they put the food in and keep it warm. They didn't cook in there, but they just kept everything warm in there. And then they had the tub to heat up the water for washing clothes and things. And of course we have, you know, irons. Oh, wait, this isn't very. Can you imagine churning this thing with butter in it? It's broken there, right? And now, there was no toilets or bathrooms when Mr. Moyer was here. And when Mr. Thompson came in here, he decided to put in a small bathroom. So here's a half bath in here.
In 1910, or maybe after that?
No, it was probably 1930 when Mr. Thompson came in. So
Okay.
there's a little switch there. It is a half a bath.
Which was terribly modern.
Yeah.
Well, that may have been maybe the county put in something that modern.
No. The sink is the same as was in our house that was from 1920, but the toilets, you know.
Oh, yeah. So, here we have our
I just love these kitchens. Can you imagine?
really, really big, huh?
Yeah, well, really big and just ironing.
Yeah. All right, now we'll go out here and we'll go upstairs and be very careful going up. It's narrow.
Oh my. And then you have to decide it's
Like a lighthouse.
There is where the help, they had a little apartment in there for the help. And remember up on the house, the Belvedere? Well, you see these boards here that have been put up there. There used to be stairs came right down the wall, down to here, and you could go up them. But when the county came in, they said, we don't want to have anybody hurt on the stairs. So they filled that all in.
That's with a square thing on top of it.
Yeah. Now this is the trip room, TRIPP. They volunteer. They donated 5 pieces. In fact, that was Mr. Moyer's dresser. Here's a dresser, and then there's a bed. See, there's a bed back in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
with a deer in it.
Just looking at it.
The deer is asleep in the
Now,
bed.
see, the ladies here in the club here in town, we're redoing the upstairs. We're painting and things, and so we've got this room already painted. And if you look up at the ceiling, how nice and clean it is. Yeah. And we've had ladies up on the ladders, tall ladders, scrubbing up the ceilings. And we painted. I helped paint something, and then they're going to be putting in wallpaper, $7,000 for wallpaper. So I think that's what it's going to cost. Yeah. So that's the.
I can tell this is old glass
Yeah.
because it's wavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now these 2 rooms here, you notice you see here the wood underneath there, and there's 2 or 3 layers of wallpaper. So they went through and were able to find some old wallpaper that they're sending back for these rooms. So
The windows are so close to the floor.
isn't that amazing? I couldn't believe that either.
And you know they open those in the summer. You wonder about children.
Oh, okay. That's they had 6 children when they first. Before they moved here, but 4 of them were girls, and they all died before they were 4 years old. You know, measles and diphtheria and stuff. But they're 2 boys, and then they lived in this little house out here on the out here on the south. So when the boys grew up and left home, one of them had an automobile dealership.
Oh.
Can you believe that? Early 1900s?
Really?
Yeah.
When Henry
I thought
Ford
that
came
was.
out with the car. I thought it was after that.
Oh, yeah.
Way after that.
So,
20s.
there was no children here, but we just don't know. We thought maybe there was a lady that went around from house to house sewing clothing for the ladies. You know, they didn't have any sewing machine or anything like that, and no stores that had carried clothing. But we just have to kind of guess, you know, what was here at the time.
Yeah.
So.
I used to imagine a whole bunch of kids running around in here.
Yeah, I don't think they had that. So.
They probably planned for a bunch of kids though, if they had 4 girls and they all passed away. They probably had planned.
No, this was later. This is much later.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, probably at the time, you know, when they died, probably they didn't even have any money to speak of. You know, like just getting started. So, yeah, it was sad. And those trees are they all bloom right here on this. So pretty pictures, pretty leaves and flowers. And let's see what else did we
Here's another window, like you said, and they haven't taken the picture off.
No, I don't know why they left that,
Right.
but there's that one. Now, if you want to come in here, what was I going to say? Oh, you see here? They started washing the walls, and there's another picture. And we found out that every room has a border around the top of the room. So, and I don't know what color, but that is really interesting. I don't know. I guess that's what they did back then, was paint designs above.
It's interesting that there's a wash that will take off the first layer of paint but leave the second layer.
Well, is it something called calamine or calcimine or something that is kind of like a whitewash?
Calamine or something. Poison oaks are.
I don't know what it is, but that I don't know. It's confusing trying to explain the things I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Well, you have I know you can use sodium phosphate to clear walls.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it might have been. And you notice the borders are right on the top of the wallpaper, you know, instead of the border. Now here is the wallpaper that we're going to try to match. This is the bottom. So now we've got this room all covered up. Now see here they've painted the border around. And then there's, you see all the blue and stuff. It's amazing.
That original stenciling is really something.
Yeah, isn't that pretty?
It looks like it was set up so that somebody could go out here on a balcony right here in front.
Yeah.
Although it doesn't look like I'd want to. I would be
Low.
safe having
Yeah.
kids out there.
Oh no, but probably. Well, we don't know because they said when Mr. Thompson came in and lived here for 2 years, then he left and they had apartments here. Now I don't know if there's an apartment up here and the one downstairs. They 2 apartments or so. Everything is so confusing. Trying to figure out what it is they've done and why, and it's really different. So.
What are the floors made of? I can't tell if that's straight vein fir or oak. I have no idea.
Pine? I don't know.
Pine?
I should find.
What's the wood? I would say redwood, but I don't know.
Redwood? What about Douglas? That's the most
Douglas
common
fir,
tree
yeah.
around here.
I'm gonna have to ask.
A lot
that.
of the old houses were, but with straight vein fir floors, it looks like, but I thought I saw something that looked almost like oak on the stairs coming up.
Mhm. Oh, okay, we need to go out that way to go downstairs, but I wanna show you the stairway to go up to the other bed. they said that that was Mr. Moyer's bedroom, that one there, the farthest one there.
And there was no opening between the two rooms at that time, right?
No, there was a small door,
Uh-huh.
but I don't know why the county made it big. But anyway, they're gonna make the, put them back to the way they were. Now, if you look at these stairs, why on earth would you want to have this and this? Well, one idea is that there are no closets in the house. And you know why that is?
No.
Because if you build a closet, they'll tax you for another bedroom.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Yes.
Still do that today.
Do they?
Oh, they'll fly over your house and leave what you did.
All right. So anyway, so what they did was, they took, see,
I'm gonna follow somebody down there, I have to go a little slower.
now stay right there. And now see, here's where it might have stopped right here, and they had a closet in there for Mr. Moyer, see over there? And they had a wall here, so this was all flat.
Oh.
And maybe it came down like this. So this is all closet in here. I'm not sure. But this
What
was,
is back here?
that's the room for the servants.
Oh.
There's a, oh,
Can we peek?
no, it's just all.
It's not.
You to get down in the basement, you have to go outside and then lock the door out there. So, is there anything else I want to tell you about? What about the furnace and the sawdust? That's amazing. I never heard of that. But anyway, they've got, I think I've got everything covered.
Well, it just seems like it's a really nice town. The whole town does. Like when the cafe burned down recently, I was
Yes.
really touched by the news stories, how people came in to help them. Then I see you, and there's a club of women up here.
You know,
Everybody's
and
came.
the man whose restaurant burnt down, we had a wake, which I thought was a weird name to call it, and there must have been, God, 2, 3, 4, 500 people in the church, the old church there. It's not a church anymore, but and it was packed. And they say, and they donated, people donated, was it $8,000 or $9,000 to help them out, you know. So it was really very, very touching. You know, everybody just loved doing it, you know. So anyway, there you go. And that's it.
All righty.
Thank you.